Well, when Sean invited me to speak this morning, he made a couple of statements. First, he said, Sherry, I just want you to know, normally our nonprofit segment is about 5 minutes, but we're going to give you 15. I knew two things about Sean at that moment. First one, he knows any woman cannot say what she needs to say in 5 minutes. It's just not possible. And the second thing was that he made it very clear, I only have 15 minutes. So I just want to let you know, I'm going to start and I'm going to go fast. So just kind of track with me if you can. Our ministry is called Empowered Women of God International. And I want to tell you a little bit about how we started. It all started with a prison meeting. I was actually invited in February of 2015 to speak in a prison. You see, I have a story many years ago that took place. I was a domestic violence victim. I had run away from home at 17. I got married to someone that turned out to be an abuser. And 6 years later, I had gone through my second abusive marriage. Now, my story is very unique, but I was asked if I would come into a prison and share my story. Now, I have to be honest with you, I was a little bit apprehensive. It was very intimidating. I had never been in a prison before, and I was a little reluctant because I didn't know anything about prison. Only what I saw on television and had seen in movies and the media. So I was kind of hesitant, but I went ahead and did what I committed to do. So I went into this prison in Bartlesville. I was able to talk to 29 inmates. And as you can see, all in orange jumpsuits. What you can't see is the armed guard that was sitting 6 feet from me with a loaded shotgun. Now that alone got me a little scared. But I went ahead and started sharing my story. Now the environment was very charged, and these women were only in there to get out of their cell. So they really didn't care about what I had to say. They took one look at me, as you can imagine, and think, what in the world does she have to tell us? Well, within 2 minutes, I had every single one of them sitting on the edge of their seat with their mouth open. And I just proceeded to share my story. And then at the end, I asked them all to pray with me, a salvation prayer. I was told after the meeting that 16 out of 29 received Christ. Well, that became our mission. And as you can see, our mission is to end the cycle of domestic violence, starting with incarcerated women in Oklahoma. Well, I always get 3 questions. The first one is, why incarcerated women? Well, first of all, 90% of all female inmates have dealt with domestic violence in their adult lives. Over 90%. That statistic was startling to me. Well, then the next question is, why Oklahoma? Well, if you know, being from Oklahoma, you probably can attest to the fact, according to the Wall Street Journal, that Oklahoma incarcerates more women than any other state, double the national average. So that's why, and of all places for God to start a ministry like this here in Oklahoma. The third question is, well, why should we care? What difference does it make? These women are behind bars. They've obviously been incarcerated for a reason. Why do you even care about them? Well, let me tell you, the first reason is because their relationships are what caused them to be incarcerated to begin with. Most really don't understand that, but if you're in an abusive relationship, they were probably involved in your doing a crime that eventually caused you to be incarcerated. So those unhealthy relationships from an abusive standpoint is very important to try to eliminate. So if incarcerated women do not end their abusive relationships before their release, recidivism is also likely. Statistically, a quarter of those released will re-enter the prison system within 6 months. A third will fail or re-enter the prison system within 1 year. And 2/3 of all released inmates will re-enter the prison system within 5 years. So what we felt is that we needed to make a difference. So how do we do that? We decided, we as in me and my husband and our board, which are here today, we decided that we would publish a mini book with my story. This mini book could go into prisons in ways that I would never be able to go. I would be able to impact lives in such a way that I would never have an opportunity to face to face. So this was our tool, our evangelism tool. So in January of 2018, we decided to start distributing these little books. And we started with 2 facilities in Oklahoma, Eddie Warrior, which is in Taft, and Mabel Bassett, which is in McLeod, right outside of Oklahoma City. When we did that, we started seeing results. There's a page in the book that they tear out. They then send it in with an envelope and a stamp. Very limited response. However, today, we are mentoring 685 female inmates in 23 facilities in 3 states. Now, our mentoring process is very unique. We have a 30-lesson correspondence course entitled The Freedom Project, and it is written by a friend of mine by the name of Cindy Netherly. Now, this particular correspondence course is so unique. It literally renews their mind and starts changing them from the inside out. For example, what we end up doing is we encourage every inmate that enrolls in our correspondence course, once they respond to the book, we send them the introduction. When they enroll, we then ask them, if you know others that you would like to recommend to take this course, please give us their information. So then we send them an introduction with a letter that says, this inmate has recommended you and thinks you may be interested in taking our course. And we leave it up to them to respond to us and tell us, yes, I do. I want to receive the course. Our first graduate recommended personally 62 inmates by herself in 15 months. To date, 85% of our referred inmates enroll in our course and start referring others, 85%. So what we're doing with this little evangelistic tool is we're creating evangelists inside the prison system. Yes, yes. Now, this particular book has dramatically changed lives. These are some of the results we're seeing. Not only are they receiving Christ because of the book, but then they enroll in the course, their lives are dramatically changed. Like I said, their inside, their mind, their will, their emotions start to change because of the faith-based content that we're sending them. And because that changes, then their actions start to change. And as a result of that, their relationships start being restored. Friendships, spouses, grandparents, children, grandchildren, all of that changes because of their change. And then generational cycles start to become broken. Poverty, abuse, neglect, abandonment, anger, all those issues end with this person. And then their lives affect their next generations. We actually step out and start helping them with their judicial hearings. We send character letters that tell the judge and their officers, their parole officers, and those that are their caseworkers, we tell them that the character that they're developing as a result of taking this course, how many lessons they've completed, how many people they've referred, showing that they are goal-oriented and that they care about other people. Those letters help them get early parole. And we're grateful to be able to do that. Also, the recidivism rate, like I said, is dramatically reduced. To date, we've only had 3 inmates return to prison in 34 months. Well, in January of 2020, our vision increased. We set a goal to see 211,000 women in our nation that are incarcerated. We are going to reach them. And right now, in order to accomplish this, we need to distribute 100,000 copies of our book. And we can do that within 4 regions. And right now, that is our goal. But we have to do 2 things first. We need to print and distribute a larger version because we need a business reply postcard on the inside that they can tear off. We want to overcome that obstacle where they've had to tear out a page, buy a stamp, buy an envelope. They don't always have money. And in most cases, they don't. So this will allow them to tear it off, fill it out, mail it in, drop it in the mail with no cost. So we know that this is going to increase our response rate dramatically, and then they'll start referring others. So we'll reach that 211,000 without any problem once we get 100,000 copies into 130 facilities nationwide. And that's our goal. But we also need to secure financial support. And I want to give you an opportunity to show you how you can be involved in this process. First thing is, we want you to have an opportunity to save a soul. You have no idea the cost of a soul. We can reach a soul for 70 cents a piece. That's the cost of the book and the return postage on every single postcard. And as you extrapolate those numbers out, the total cost is going to be $70,000 for us to reach 100,000 souls that will then reach the other remaining 111,000 women because of the referral rate. In addition to that, we also want you to have an opportunity on changing a life. That's through the correspondence course, the mentoring process. Approximately 1 to 2 lessons are completed every month by every inmate. So our total cost, hard costs included in overhead, $5 a month, we can reach an inmate that can change their life, their future, and their next generation and their home. I just want to give you an opportunity to personally be a part of this. And for those that are here, we're going to distribute a copy of our new book. It's a sample, it's not complete yet, but we want you to have the story that's changing these women's lives. And for those online, you can go to our website at empoweredwomenofgod.com or .org, either one will work, but .org. And on that website, you'll have an opportunity to donate, but you can also download a free copy of the book. And for those that are here, we're going to give you a copy of the book and a remittance envelope for your convenience. But I want to, first of all, just tell you how excited I am to be able to share this opportunity with you, to give you some insight as to what's happening in the prison system, how God is changing the lives of inmates and why we're doing it. And I believe you cannot put a price on a soul because we know that it's priceless, but we can put a price on reaching one. For 70 cents a piece, you can be a part of that. And then to change their life for $5 a month. I just want to encourage you to be a part, if you can, prayerfully consider it. No pressure, but we just want to share the opportunity with you. And at this point, I just want to tell you one thing. I want to end with Proverbs 11:30. He that winneth souls is wise. And I believe we all could use all the wisdom we can get. Yes. Thank you.
Wow, Sherry. As the former district attorney and now general counsel to the sheriff, Vic Regalado, my whole career dealt with this issue. They call it the Department of Corrections, but there's not much correcting going on. There's a lot of warehousing of human beings. And with all the criminal justice reform that's going around, what people don't understand is 85% of every inmate in the Department of Corrections is coming home sometime. What are they going to be like when they come home if we don't feed into them? You want to shape Oklahoma's future? You get behind this lady and what she's doing, and we will see a marked change in Oklahoma. I guarantee it.